Welcome into the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first installment of Shark and the Dog. I am John. I am here with Dave, and we're here to talk Pats, Colts, Bees losing streak, Tankapalooza, and all things Boston. And let's get it started, Dave. Pats, Colts, how do you feel about tonight's game?
Oh boy, worried. I think there's a sense of complacency in New England again. It's kind of a see you next weekend type of deal with this team, and I'm a little worried about that. But I think they're gonna win, regardless. You know.
Yeah, I think you're after. This is after losing to the Giants twice in the Super Bowl. I think New England's getting pretty antsy, and when we were younger, it used to be a guarantee that Vinatieri was going to find a way to put it through the uprights. And now you sort of have to question the Patriots, and there's been a lot of questioning Tom Brady, and I hope this is one of those games where he just comes out and proves everyone wrong, like he has done a couple times this season already.
Right. That's going to be the X factor tonight is Brady's performance, in my opinion. I think he's got to get off to a good start, get everyone going early, get the running game going especially, and see how the receivers are going to go out in this rain. It's supposed to be tough conditions tonight, but we're used to it coming off that big Bills win. So maybe we just pound the ball tonight and hope for the best.
The Bills win was a huge confidence booster.
Oh, unreal.
We needed that. And the way the season ended, if you were to lose that game, what would you be, fourth? I think we would have had to go and play Kansas City.
Yes.
And that can you believe that we're here at the number 2 seed, and one game could have screwed up the whole thing for us. And don't sleep on San Diego. We could see them next week if we win tonight, too. So I think that's a huge game. All these are right now. We have some great matchups throughout the NFL, but I think the ideal matchups that the NFL needs to make money are Manning, Brady in the AFC Championship. And you need Seahawks, 49ers. And if you reverse all those games, I don't think it's going to be as watchable.
I think Carolina, Seattle would be a good game.
Yeah,
that would be a game that I don't know. Did they play each other this season? If they did, I'm sure it was a good game. But I definitely want to see that matchup as well.
I do not want to see Carolina in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that'd be so bad. If Carolina made the Super Bowl, it would just be. If we had another Carolina Pats Super Bowl, it'd be a good game because we want that revenge from earlier in the season. But don't give me that.
Yeah, Carolina Chargers, Carolina Colts. That would be so bad for the NFL.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's Pro Bowl watchable right there. So let's touch on Brandon Spikes. What are your thoughts?
I thought he's been having a great season, but the word came out today that he's on the IR because he's been late to meetings. Not being the Patriot way, especially social media wise. So interesting IR suspension there. That is very Belichick in the way he's kind of run this program the past almost 20 years now. So it's a statement made by Belichick, and I like it. And you know what? Maybe it sends a message to this young team and saying, the next guy forward, you can do it. I think that's the message sent.
No bigger Spikes fan than me, but he has to buy into this Patriot way thing. The guy is obviously a little out there, but so is Aqib Talib, and I think he has done a great job of adjusting to the Patriot way. And the most amazing part is we're about to play the Colts in the AFC divisional game, and is anyone out there thinking about Aaron Hernandez?
No.
No one cares about Aaron Hernandez.
No one gives a shit.
Can you believe that is a thing of the past, and what's it been, 6 months?
It's nuts.
Yeah, that's
someone lost their life.
Probably, allegedly, multiple people.
Yeah, definitely multiple people.
Oh my God! But that's great to see that this team is resilient. I think that has a lot to do with it, and it's good that players like that aren't on this. On this team anymore. But we're a Gronkless team right now, but we played half the season that way. So I think we can survive. And I've said this multiple times. The Pats could be either 2-14 or 16-0. But they're 12-4, and it's been a really good season. I think 12-4 is a huge step up above 11-5. I think 11-5, you're just on the edge of being a great team. And I think 12-4 is a great record.
If they lose tonight, do you think this season's a failure or a disappointment?
Absolutely not. And I'll give you an analogy I've been running this whole season. This is almost like a war. The way this team has been hit with injuries, it's a lot like a civil war, and it's pretty amazing that they're at this point, and people are looking at them to be a possible Super Bowl contender. When they, if you had given the same issues to another coach, there's no way. I don't think any other team could do what Belichick and Brady have done with this roster.
Yeah. What would Andrew Luck's record be with this Pats team if he was quarterback?
I'll say 9-7.
Yeah,
I think he's good. But there is, I think people are starting to doubt Brady, which I kind of like about this game.
Yeah.
Because I think he can really go out and shove it down people's throats.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that's been brought up is they haven't really strung together 2 good wins in a playoff run.
No.
In years. You could probably say go back to 2004. And it'd be nice to have a great game today, and regardless of who we play next week, have another great run and string together 2 solid wins, and then you got 2 weeks to get healthy and head to New York in a cold weather game. This team really deserves to be there. The way the best cold weather matchup to me would be a Aaron Rodgers Brady Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I think any of those other guys will rise to the occasion. Your Russell Wilsons, your Colin Kaepernicks, and even Cam Newton could play well. Drew Brees. So I just named all 4 teams left in the NFC could all compete in New York.
You know what? I think Brees has puked on himself many times in the playoffs.
He's getting pretty Manning.
He's kind of Manning. When he goes outside, it's like, holy shit, where am I?
They have the same number of Super Bowls.
Yep. And you know what? Drew Brees, unbelievable player, very similar. Russell Wilson is a very similar style. But you know what? He's kind of been a choke. I even remember it was a San Fran game. It was 2 years ago, I think, San Fran, New Orleans, where New Orleans went up, and then Vernon Davis got that touchdown with a second left to win it. I think that was one of the best games I've ever seen. But then again, it wasn't Drew Brees' fault type of thing. But still, you look at him when they lose,
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy you look at. It's like if the Pats lose, you're going to start looking at, okay, what's Brady's legacy like now? It's been 10 years since he's won a Super Bowl, which, it's a little crazy to think about. Like, some teams haven't won a Super Bowl ever. And we're like, it's been 10 years. Let's go. Let's get a fucking another Super Bowl.
Yeah, and one of the things with Drew Brees is he throws for almost 6,000 yards every season. And then he gets into the playoffs and he throws for, 225. You can't do that. If you're going to sling the ball for a near 6,000 over a season, you better come ready to play in the playoffs and show that you can do that. And, there are a lot of quarterbacks out there who are starting to, shit the bed in the playoffs. I think Andy Dalton may never win a playoff game.
I feel bad for that guy.
And I think Marvin Lewis is a renowned, failure.
Oh, my God.
I
don't give a shit.
10 years?
Yeah. And you go to the playoffs every year and you haven't won a playoff game.
I know.
Like, get rid of that guy. He's an asshole.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't we take let's take a short break. I think that was a good first installment.
Let's go, baby.
Welcome back to the program. We are here talking Pats Colts on this lovely Saturday. It's going to be about 40 degrees tonight in Foxborough, which I think is plenty warm for Brady and the boys.
Oh, that's winning weather.
Absolutely.
That's winning weather right there.
One thing, Dave, I think people haven't really touched on is the Colts' performance last week. That was pretty amazing, what they did to the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I think people forget the Chiefs were dominant this season. They had a bad run at the end. But they were a 9-0 team. They were the best team in football, past the halfway point of the season, which is pretty remarkable. And the Colts I think they stunned everyone. They were down by 28. How much were the Colts down to the Pats that time? I think it was 06. That was like an 18-point game, and Manning came back. It was it was really a flub on the Patriots' part. But Andrew Luck has one of the biggest comebacks in NFL history against a very good Chiefs opponent who I didn't want to face.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna kind of go off track here, but the one thing that's very encouraging to me when I look at the Colts is that Jamal Charles, best running back in the league, arguably. Went out in like the 6th play, and they still managed to run all over them, the Chiefs, all over the Colts, the entire game pretty much, with the backup running back. And you know what? I think Blunt will do great against this. I think Ridley is a perfect runner against this defense. They can't tackle that well at the line. So, that's chunk yardage right there. And then that'll open up space for Brady in the play action, anything like that. And hopefully it'll get players open deep, Maybe I think this is Danny Amendola's call. I think this is why they signed him. This is it's a big stage for him, coming from St. Louis. Then you come here and he hasn't done shit yet. This signing has looked like a flop for us right now.
Yeah, he's been plagued by injuries, and it's been a tough season. And I think he has bought into the fact that people thought he was the Wes Welker replacement, when I think they shouldn't look too far, because you've got a star in Julian Edelman. I've been saying that from the start.
Isn't it funny that he was a quarterback in college?
I know. Yeah,
he's our best receiver, and he's a friggin' quarterback.
I know, that's remarkable. One of the things I want to touch on is I think that Bills game was great for us in the sense that the Colts probably have a whole game plan devised around stopping LeGarrette Blount, and we may not even use the guy.
It's true. We do change our game plan.
We may disguise it, and we still have guys like Shane Vereen. Maybe they're not focusing on Shane Vereen because they think LeGarrette Blount is going to be our number one. And Ridley could come out and play great if he holds on to the ball.
I know. Hey, think about it. We fumbled 3 times against the Bills and recovered 3 fumbles.
Yeah.
Turnovers. Andrew Luck friggin' won the game last week with, 3 interceptions?
3 interceptions.
I think turnovers become way more important when it comes to, good teams, and one team makes a mistake, the other team's going to pounce on it. And you know what? If we fumble the ball against the Colts in, 50-yard line and back, I think they're going to score. They got the best clutch kicker in history. I'm taking him over Gostkowski any day of the week.
From 45 yards out with 3 seconds left, you're putting Vinatieri out there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think, and at this point in his career,
I'd still take him. He's 41, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
that's
41.
unbelievable. And I think a lot of players are going to start playing into older ages. I think Tom Brady is going to be a 42-year-old quarterback. I think we're going to have to re-sign him. And same goes for David Ortiz, but that's a little off track. Let's talk Brady's legacy. He's been getting Peyton Manning, they think his shit doesn't stink in the national news. And Brady, I would say after the Randy Moss team, people really started doubting Tom Brady. And he's still a great quarterback. Right now, what Sporting News has him listed 8th on the top 8 remaining quarterbacks in the playoffs. And how do you feel on that? Brady at number 8.
I disagree with it because you got a lot of unproven players here. I know it's been 10 years, but Brady's gone to 5 Super Bowls, right? And Cam Newton hasn't even seen the NFC Championship game yet. Kaepernick's only seen it once. Russell Wilson hasn't even seen it yet. So, it's one of those things where this guy's been through it. He's been through it, and he's proven himself, not recently, but he's been through it. That's the guy you want as your quarterback, with anyone. I mean, look, he's got like I said, he has a quarterback as his best receiver. He has a quarterback. Yeah. His quarterback's his best receiver. And you know what? 07, he proved it. He had Welker, he had Moss. Obviously we came up a little short, but he proved that he could be the best, and I think he still is.
Mm-hmm. I'd say on that list, he's definitely not 8. you're gonna
He's
have
top
to
four,
put
at least.
Phillip Rivers behind him. I'm sorry, Phillip Rivers is good.
Yeah.
You know, he's a clutch player. Not that clutch, but he's played through the pain before.
Yeah,
And you got to
he's
give it
been
up
there.
for him there. But I think Brady is the best quarterback left. What I think the list doesn't count is who scares you the most as of right now. And I think that's Colin Kaepernick. Because he was there last year and he was, you know, a couple seconds, 1 or 2 plays away from being a Super Bowl champion. He's hungry.
Yeah.
And he has been there before. The fact that Drew Brees has been there before and Manning's been there before does not scare me because they know they'll find a way to choke.
Yeah.
And you can poke holes in their game. But Kaepernick scares me. If I would much rather play Russell Wilson and the Seahawks in the cold weather at Giants Stadium than Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers. I really would.
You know, didn't we play Seattle last year in Seattle?
And lost.
We lost, but I didn't think we played a good game, and we barely lost.
It was almost like the Cincy game. This year.
Very, very similar. That's
game.
why I was like, if we play Cincy at home, we're going to kill them. That was the one team I really wanted to face coming out. I didn't care that they were the high seed, but I knew they were going to lose and choke.
And choke they did.
You know what? I think it's more Marvin Lewis than Andy Dalton with that team, too. But, you know, that's kind of a different topic, but that guy needs to get out of there.
Yeah, I agree. But don't veer away from the fact that Andy Dalton made 2 horrific passes in that game. Just terrible decisions. And he's not ready to be an elite quarterback, so stop putting him in that.
Exactly. You know what? A couple of weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago when the Pats played the Ravens, and I think he was playing Pittsburgh. He threw like 4 picks to... They still won, but he threw 4 picks in a game that you need to win.
Yep.
And we went down to Baltimore, full of doubts, and just destroyed them. That was an absolute blowout. And that's the big difference between a good quarterback and a, you know, mediocre, in my opinion. You got Brady and you got Dalton. Big difference there.
Yeah, I really wish we could have snagged that number 1 seed when it was up for grabs.
Yeah, we did blow that. That was one thing we definitely blew this year. You know, it's funny to think about. We had the 1 seed, and Peyton Manning is coming to Foxborough next week. Think about that. That has just choke written all over it. But, hey, we might go there if we win. And I got all the confidence in the world in Brady.
Yeah, if Peyton Manning loses today, can we stop? Can we stop saying he's the best? Peyton Manning is great. He's a great quarterback, but his brother's better. 2 Super Bowls is 2 Super Bowls. I don't care if you're setting records. You've got some of the best receivers in the game.
It's true.
And so there is no excuse if they lose. If the Pats lose a good game today, that's fine. This season is not a failure. Everyone's getting antsy, but look what he's up against.
Yeah.
That being said, is there anyone who could take this team and win this game better than Tom Brady?
I don't think so.
No. So that's the Pats are in a better situation from a losing standpoint than Peyton Manning and the Broncos. If they lose, it's a choke. No matter if it's a field goal at the end of the game or by 30. Mm-hmm. It is a choke. They are the best team in football, even though they blew it against the Patriots in the regular season.
I think their defense is suspect. Broncos D is very suspect, especially no Von Miller. Your secondary Swiss cheese kind of reminds me of our defenses in the past, like the bend but not break type of deal, and still get, you know, just scored up on. But you know what? I think their defense is going to kill them, and I think, you know, Manning's going to have a good game, but I still think they're going to lose.
Yeah,
I think they're going to lose.
I think tomorrow's game, I think, can be defined by a player like Danny Woodhead. I think he could rip up the Broncos, a player like that, someone out of the blue, and beat the Broncos. And I think that segueing into the Pats game against the Colts, that could very well happen here. We could take some player like a Danny Woodhead, a James Devlin, and could change the whole course of the game. It could be a very weird game tonight from Belichick's mind of football.
That's true. You know what? This game tonight it's a game we got to cherish. All of us, all New England fans. We're getting close here to the end. I hate to say it, but it's true fact, and I think that's our take on the whole Pats deal tonight. What's your score prediction?
Oh, score prediction. I think I'm going to have to go with like a 34-27.
That's why I was going to say 27-20. But you know what? It could be more points with the way Indy's defense played last week. So, like I said, we don't know what's coming. We don't know what game plan Belichick is going to bring. But that wraps up our Pats talk.
I got one more thing.
You got one more?
On the Pats. If we want to win this game, and we'll close with this, we need to score on the first drive. Brady needs to march down the field like he would in the past and score. Do you remember the game against the Jets? He marched right down the field, and we threw that pick, and we got bombed in that game. That was a horrible game by Sanchez and the Jets.
Yeah.
So don't think that Andrew Luck and Chuck Pagano could do much worse, because they could. They could come in here and kick our ass if we make an opening drive like that. We need to come down and have a decisive first drive and strike early.
I agree.
And we'll close there for the second segment. We're going to come back after a short break with Celtics Tankapalooza. Looks like it's back on in full tilt. And we'll talk Bruins hockey, because we're at an interesting part in the season, and some injuries, especially Seidenberg, have made this interesting. So, we'll be back in a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the third and final installment of the premiere show of Shark and the Dog. It's been great recapping Pats Colts. But we want to switch gears right now over to the Celtics. And we'll give Brad Stevens a grade up to this point. I'm going to go ahead and give him a B+. And I know he's the right guy for the job. I'm real glad we got him. But I'm going to go B+ because I think he's in on the whole tanking thing. Because we've had a couple games where if you drafted up a remotely decent play, we would have won the game. And that's happened a lot. I think we could have a winning record. I don't think anyone in this region wants that except me. I am one of very few, because I do not trust the NBA draft. Oh my God, Darko Milicic? You're going to trust that? That system? Ping pong balls? 2 rounds? It is the worst draft in sports. But back to Brad Stevens. That's what I'm talking about. I think we could win a lot of these games and be at least 500, but no one wants that. So I'm going to give him a B+. That's a harsh grade, but I'm glad he's here. I think it's a A+ pickup by Danny Ainge.
Dude, I think he gets an A. Just because look what he's dealing with. Like Chris Humphries is like their best player.
Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable.
That's pretty bad. Like, think about the Heat or Portland, like those type of teams. You got stars everywhere. Look at Brooklyn. Imagine if he was coaching Brooklyn right now.
Oh yeah.
They would be probably the best team in the East.
They're frauds. The Brooklyn Nets are frauds. Yeah. And they've got 2 of our favorite players ever on that team. And another thing I think Garnett was performing well above his abilities the last 2 seasons as a Celtic, strictly because he did bleed green. And he was a little insane, which everyone loved about him. And I think now that he's a net, I don't think he's really trying to go full tilt for Jason Kidd and Brooklyn.
I wouldn't go full tilt for Jason Kidd.
I wouldn't either. I'm not trying to blow my knees out for the Nets.
Think about Pierce going up against Kidd way back. Those type of days. Tony Delk days.
Oh, wow. Rodney Rogers.
Yeah. No, it's just think about those days. Like, imagine playing for that guy.
Yeah.
You could never do that.
You
could never do that. I don't give a shit they beat the Heat. We beat the Heat earlier this year.
Yeah, that is true. Jeff Green beat the Heat.
Yeah, Jeff Green beat the Heat. And you know what? Look, the NBA is the worst organization in all professional sports. I'm a big believer in that.
I can agree with that.
I think baseball's on their way. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but you can't sit down and watch a 4-hour game. You can't. You can't do that. It's something that people right now with technology, fast-paced American life, they want quick games, hockey, playoff football, all these games that we want action. We want action. Even the college football this year is unbelievable.
Oh, it's
every bowl game.
That was a Disney finish. That game. That was a Disney ending.
That was very, intense. Very fitting. Jameis Winston with the last drive.
Not a great game, but a great last drive.
I thought that was up there as one of the best games.
No, I'm talking Jameis Winston.
It was
an unbelievable game, but Jameis Winston did not play well by any means.
No, but 17 points came back from against the best team in the SEC, which is arguably the best conference. So I know that's a little off track with the Celtics, but I think we're going to move on. We're not trying to talk about a team that's not. I don't think they're making the playoffs. So let's segue into our Bruins here into their toughest stretch of the year by far. January, February is when you start getting a little complacent. Good first half. You coming in, you're playing the Ducks, you're playing San Jose, you're playing LA. All good teams. Those are the teams you're going to be playing in the Stanley Cup if you make it there.
We looked gassed going into the third period of all those games. I think it was, with injuries, especially Seidenberg, could have really used Seidenberg. I think Dougie Hamilton and Chara is one of the worst line matchups ever, just because they don't work well together. I think they're both good players on their own on different lines, but that is a terrible defensive pair in my mind. It wasn't even the defensive pair when we lost that game against the Rangers. When Dougie Hamilton, that was pretty amazing in the playoffs. Dougie Hamilton has one really bad shift in a bad game, and they just said, you're done for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's tough missing Seidenberg. Could really use him back, and that brings us to the Girardi topic. Do you think that's a good trade?
They're not going to do it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would help them. It's a deal that would help them. You can't replace Seidenberg. He's probably top 10 defenseman in the league. He can take out pretty much any best player. If Chara wasn't 6'10", he wouldn't be. Seidenberg would be so much better than him. Mm-hmm. But you know what? That's a huge loss. He's probably one of our unsung heroes on the team the past few years. So tough loss. Girardi, be cool. I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like they're going to do more minor stuff at the trade deadline.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. We could use a player like that. And this time last year, the Penguins really made a name for themselves. This is when they went on that run and won something like 20 straight games. They just tore it up February through March. And then they were the best team. As Shirley said, they're a lock after getting Iginla. And we stunned them in the playoffs. And I think if we can build a team equal to or even better, which I think we can, to last year's team come playoff time.
I think we're a better team this year.
I do too.
But with the Seidenberg loss, it's completely different, So I think we lack a little speed, but
Spooner's fast. Do it. Spooner's fast. I think.
Yeah, I know, but this is the guy they're going to keep up when Kelly comes back. We don't know. We have no idea what they're going to do.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
Let's talk Iginla. How do you feel about Iginla?
He's done great. What has Horton done this year?
Oh,
nothing.
That's a good point.
He's been injured the entire season, and Iginla's been playing like a true Bruin. I loved that first game. He came out with a fight. That's the stuff we need here, and he's hungry. He's a guy that you want on your team if you're going to a championship. He knows what he did wrong last year, choosing Pittsburgh, and he's bought into the whole Boston system. I think he's done great.
It was the more attractive offer at the time. If you're Jerome Iginla and you have no ties to Boston, wouldn't you go to Pitt?
Yeah.
They had just won all those games, and that little Sally, Sidney Crosby, couldn't get it together. Malkin and Crosby choked.
Yeah,
they really did. The goalie choked.
Oh, Fleury.
They couldn't figure it out. Fleury choked. Yeah. That was the best team in hockey. They really were. And if they were playing at the top of their game, they could have made a good run against the Blackhawks, but the Bruins stunned them. They swept them.
Yeah.
And I think we can build a team just as tough as we were last year. And I think Rask we were talking about this the other day, Dave. Rask can either be a waste of money, which I don't think he will be, or he could be a total hero. He's 26, 27 years old, and if he could go on a run like Marty Brodeur, Patrick Waugh. It's tough to put him up there, but he's that young.
I think we need a good backup goalie here because you can tell he's going through the wear and tear right now of a long season. So especially with the Olympics, he's probably going to be starting every game for Finland. And that's a grind. Those Olympics are a friggin' grind. You play every other day. You're getting used to a whole new time zone. You're playing against, better NHL teams. You'd take Team USA over the Bruins, obviously. You'd take Team Canada over the Bruins. So I'm a little worried about his durability for future use. But when it comes to playoff time, the guy is unbelievable. So. Let's just hopefully ride through here. Very similar to last year. We're at a point where we're slipping a little bit. Came back at the end of the year and had a good run. So that's what I'm looking for with this team post Olympics. But other than that, let's just hope for the best.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario for everyone in the world is U.S.-Russia in Russia rematch 1980. That's what you need in Sochi. Because back then the game had tremendous political pull, and it does now. Again, that would be unbelievable. Do not make it Canada, Finland. We need USA, Russia, and US needs to rise again because Russia's good.
Yeah,
they're friggin' quick. This is, I think we're up against the odds again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're probably the fourth, fifth most talented team.
We don't have scorers. We don't. What the hell happened to Bobby
we got
Ryan? Kane can score, and I think he'll rise to the occasion. He'll get his anger out on some taxi driver in Buffalo come time for the Olympics, and he'll be ready to go.
I think I like what they're doing with keeping same guys together, like JVR and Kessel, guys like that. So it's a good thing. I like what they're doing with the chemistry thing. But I don't know what team could beat Canada. They're unbelievable. Goaltending is a little bit of an issue.
Beatable. I see them as beatable. Definitely, that goaltending is going to collapse.
It's true.
They're not going to figure it out. Luongo's going to start, and then they're going to go to Price. And if Price is rattled, they won't know what to do. Do you go back? Do you go back to Luongo, who's probably going to choke? He's worse than Manning.
Do you start Ryan Miller or Quick?
If Quick's healthy, you got to go with the best guy.
You think so?
If
you're not taking the guy with that led us to a gold medal 4 years ago.
That's right.
Silver medal.
It's a great question, but it's things have changed since 4 years ago. He was on top of the mountain 4 years ago, and is he there now? Yeah. Maybe it's just because Buffalo sucks and it's tough to play for him, and he'd rather play for his country. So maybe he will rise to the occasion if given the opportunity. But I think you got to go with Johnny Quick right now. You got to have someone who can stop it, and he gives up like one goal a night out there on the West Coast. So go with him.
You know what? This is great. We touched on a lot of things today, but let's hope this shitty rainy day brings us a Pats win. Fast
forward to, let's say, 12:30 at night. If
midnight.
There's an overtime or something like that. And do you think you will be disappointed or excited?
I think I'm going to be excited. I think it's a win. I think it's going to be a win. It's going to be way harder than people think. I can even see it Indy coming out and just, being like, wow, they're up 14-0 already. I can see that happening.
Indy going up for it?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I could see a 12-3, 14-3, something like that.
I feel like we've been doing that all year. So, hey, you got 12 back there. Yeah. And that's all you can ask for. You got BB on the sideline.
Yeah. I think Scott Zolak is going to be very excited come 12:30.
My God. I really hope so. I need it. It's going to be unbelievable, and this is it. Cherish it. Telling all the the fans out there that we're going to have, cherish this game. Cherish Brady. Cherish Belichick. Cherish what this team's done this year. Think of everything that has happened. The onside kick in Cleveland, the first game of the season when Shane Vereen was playing through a broken hand. Mulligan and
the Browns.
and
The
James
Browns
Devlin.
game.
Yep, I know. It's guys like you get Mulligan from Maine and
Oh, I know.
University of Maine. The guy could probably run like a 5 flat 40, and he's playing a major role right now.
He's got Hulk Hogan behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty unbelievable. We got the belt in the locker room.
That's true.
Who's getting the belt tonight?
Slater.
Wow.
Slater is getting the belt. He's had an unbelievable season. That block on Blunt's kick return last week was unreal.
Mankins.
And, I think it's going to be guys like that are going to win you a game. The left side of the line, the Mankins, the Solders. I could even see Danny Amendola coming through, maybe even Austin Collie. You never know in this type of game. It's a playoff game, and you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's close her out.
Let's do it.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you get to this.
Let's go, baby.
I hope you get to this before the game time tonight because
see you in New York.
If you listen to it tomorrow at noon, it may be different. Maybe we were right. Who knows? But we'll cut it there and have a great Saturday and go Pats.
Woo! Clean now.
Looking back at the years gone by like so many summer